doesn't take long to realize how truly haunting Sons of the Forest can be. In just a few hours exploring its island, I came across an array of strange sightings. Shadows rattled amid nearby bushes when I approached them, creatures letting out spine-chilling grunts as they fled. A woman with multiple limbs watched me in fear from afar, only to cautiously begin to retrace my steps after our first encounter. At the deepest end of a dark cavern, the dim light of a lantern revealed a creature made out of flesh and teeth. When I first heard about this game, I was eager to see how a current tech survival game would look and feel like. I spent roughly 20-30 hours playing it, and I must say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. The world is breathtakingly beautiful, the setting is fantastic, and the survival aspect is thrilling. Although some of the mechanics and features fall short, despite this, I'm eagerly anticipating future updates and DLCs. However, while playing the game, I couldn't help but have some critical thoughts. While I understand the game is still in early access, there are many aspects that could have been better developed. Now, on the positive side, the freeform building mechanic in this game is absolutely fantastic, allowing for endless creative possibilities and a truly unique crafting experience. So, instead of fighting, I spent a lot of my free time building. The other major innovation of Sons of the Forest, using my guidebook's pictorial walkthroughs, I quickly learned how to split logs in half with my axe and lay them flat for floors and roofs, or to plant logs into the ground, whittle the tops into spikes, and form a palisade for added protection from mutant raids. It takes quite a bit of getting used to, and sometimes it's quite janky, only allowing you to place down certain bits and bobs if you're looking at exactly the right part of your building. But it's an impressive and tactical system which gives you a lot of freedom to build how you want, while also going leaps and bounds further in terms of immersion than most games. However, there are some limitations to the systems that detract from the overall experience. For example, the number of possible combinations is quite limited, and there is no gate available for walls. Additionally, it is impossible to fortify the walls themselves, and there is no quick and easy way to build scaffolding or a crane for larger structures. The positioning of logs can also be buggy, with only one option for viewing angle, which should be switchable with the mouse wheel. Furthermore, while doors are available, there are no variations, and windows are nothing more than simple holes. Cutting logs in half is also a tedious process, and it would be great to have a contraption to assist with this task. Finally, there is no way to automate the production of survival resources. Now, this game is a feast for the eyes. It's one of the most stunning survival games out there. The tree models are incredibly diverse and well detailed. The foliage is lush and blends perfectly with the environment, and the rivers and lakes are so mesmerizing that it's hard to resist taking a stroll alongside them. The environment is simply just gorgeous. From the way the trees bend in the wind to the eerie feeling of rain and thunderstorms, scaling to the top of the mountain is a thrilling adventure, and the snow interaction with the sled is nothing short of amazing. Seeing your own footprints and taking in the beauty of the winter island is just breathtaking. But let's be real, as beautiful as the island is, it can also feel repetitive and dull to explore. Too many floodford areas with trees and foliage, and not enough interesting locations to discover. It would be great if they added more signs of the rich people who used the island as a retreat, like unique building structures that stand out from the mountain, helipad areas in the mountains and woods, and even security systems and bunkers that have been overtaken by cannibals. Speaking of cannibals, the game needs more evidence of their existence on the island, such as totems, signs of religions, maybe some traps, and even a major tribe building an actual town. The world just feels empty, and while there are camps scattered around 90%, while the world just feels empty and while there are caves scattered around, 90% of them are irrelevant and 100 of them are just copy-pasted. They should serve a purpose and offer some clues to how the situation even started. Who are the cannibals? Where were they before the rich people arrived? The game desperately needs to follow the 40-second rule of open world games. Even if they want the player to feel lost and abandoned, they should include gameplay and environmental storytelling aspects every 15 to 40 seconds to keep players engaged and interested. Base building can only sustain interest for so long, and many players lose motivation to play once they've completed the story. Adding different tribes that fight each other could help with variation and give players a new challenge to face. All in all, the game has an immense potential, and with some small tweaks, it could be a truly unforgettable experience. Taking out of happily wondered about the forest for hours, taking in all the sights and sounds, but this is Sons of the Forest, and so the tranquility and beauty is carefully balanced out by an ever-present sense of dread and danger. Engaging with enemies in Sons of the Forest feels very different from other games, and it's all thanks to the NPC's impressive AI. When I first encountered mutants in my playthrough, they seemed as scared of me as I was of them. They'll climb trees at my approach and call to one another. They'll try to provoke me by getting almost close enough to attack before darting away again. When the violence inevitably began, some mutants grieved over their slain fellows, others ran away, half dead, before returning to the next day with reinforcements. The enemy AI in this game is thrilling, with their speed posing a challenge and their damage being a real danger no matter what mode you're playing. Facing a horde of them is always intimidating, and their design is nicely done. However, while the enemies have their strengths, there are also some drawbacks. The lack of variety in attacking patterns is noticeable across all enemy types, with few differences between them. The dirty cannibals are good first enemies, but they could use more jump scares, perhaps by having them jump out of trees, lakes, or bushes more often. The normal cannibals should interact with each other more, as they only seem to moan about their dead ones. Armored cannibals are easy to avoid as they always attack after blocking a hit. There should be an incentive to attack their armored parts more. The big cannibals with clubs can be frustrating, with their knockbacks and little telegraphing from their backhand. They should be slower and more dangerous, but also easier to maneuver around. It's also annoying that their dead bodies just lie around with no option to carry them or use the disemboweled limbs for anything. The same goes for the big red cannibal. Killing him only yields one skin pouch, which isn't worth the effort. The white Caven humans are perfect for jump scares, but they currently all have the same boring attack pattern of melee hitting. The Spitter is a nice speed up in pace, but there could be more variation in its appearance. The Twin Mutant is challenging, but lacks dismembered It lacks dismembered options and any worthwhile rewards for killing it. Mutated babies and slicky enemies are also annoying and offer no payoff for killing them. The long arms and legs enemy is not particularly intimidating on its own and has a boring fight pattern. The lack of an end boss is also disappointing, and There are too few enemy types overall. Hopefully the developers will update existing enemies and add more variations and types in the future. The characters in this game are bland. Kelvin and Virginia, oh my god, I almost say the wrong word. No, wait, I'm sorry, I'm going off track. Kelvin and Virginia lack any real personality, making it tough to care about them. They just choose to get the job done, but there could be so much more. Let's give Kelvin some depth by having him write us notes or have meaningful conversation with him by the fireplace. And let's make Virginia more than just a torrent. Maybe we can go on a mission to find a special rabbit toy for her in the woods, or uncover why she has more arms and legs than the average person. There are so many missed opportunities to make these characters more engaging. One thing that this game absolutely nails is the way it spreads out the points of interest. Discovering new areas and unlocking gadgets feels incredibly satisfying. Even after you found them all, it's fun to run through the areas and collect them as quickly as possible. The only downside is that the main story is pretty underwhelming without giving away any spoilers. Let's just say it could use some serious improvement. Adding some voice acting would also help bring the story to life and make it more engaging. It's hard to believe that with only 2 sequences they couldn't find anyone to lend the voice to the game. And next up we have the survival gameplay, and one thing that really is frustrating is the lack of a compass or north point on the GPS. Additionally, it's really difficult to gather flowers for medicine since they are too randomly spread out and the farming is not developed enough, and there's so much of medicine that you can find that makes crafting them feel pointless as like a waste of time. I also found that fatigue, hunger, and thirst systems don't have any real consequences. I can go through a night without eating or drinking anything and not feel any negative effects. The same goes for stamina, which can be ignored when building a base if you have enough resources. The seasons don't feel fully realized either way. They just switch overnight and there's no noticeable spring or fall. Winter doesn't make anything more difficult either, it just makes some gameplay aspects weird. For example, I can't make a hole in the ice for water and the snow makes it hard to see where I'm digging. The coldness and wetness also doesn't make me sick, and there's no real interaction with the winter environment beyond being a nice visual feature. Another issue is the lack of sickness in the game. I can eat human flesh with no drawbacks or moral implications. There is no risk of getting food poisoning or salmonella or any other illnesses. Even if I'm wet, cold and covered in blood, I won't get sick. The survival systems in the game feel neglected and should be improved. Finally, the wildlife in the game lacks variety. You can only see the same meat from elk, birds and deer, and there's no way to domesticate any animals. The fur from deer and elk is also the same. It's frustrating that it takes so many spear throws to kill a deer as well. Okay, I'm going to need to take a sip of my coffee for this one, I know. Might be wondering, yes, I actually usually like to do the script while drinking coffee. I know it's a bit weird, but that's how I take stuff. But yeah, I need to take a sip of my coffee. That's nice. I actually make my own coffee. This is just like normal coffee. Like, is there like anything like special coffee? But I think I have to finish this script. Gorgeous the game may be, but when you look closer, there simply isn't enough content in Sons of the Forest to keep me playing. Not yet anyway. All the good stuff is located in the starting quadrant of the island, and as you explore further, you see that there's just nothing of interest out there except more mutants. When I first started, I'd have to take a deep breath and mentally prepare myself every time I stepped into a new cave system. But later on, that feeling quickly disappeared to be replaced by disappointment at seeing most of the other caves on the map leading to just a single room with nothing inside except of a couple of loot boxes. The further I got from spawn, the more rushed everything felt. But still, despite the bugs and glitches, the baffling mechanics, and the ultimate hollowness of the island, there's a lot to like about Sons of the Forest. Not just like, but love. The AI is the best I've seen in this kind of game and adds so much to the already sublimely creepy atmosphere. The forest itself is stunningly gorgeous, sometimes jaw-droppingly so. In a way, this game is to the wilderness what okay. In a way, this game is to the wilderness what Cyberpunk 2077 was to the metropolis. I guess sometimes jankiness and imperfection is the price you have to pay to do things the other games haven't done before. With that being said, my overall vote for the game is, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10, just because the game can be way more better and it's still in early access, so there's so much more to improve, and I have to say Sons of the Forest has a lot of potential. But this is the end of the video, and as usual, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to see more content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out. That's it for me, Mancy.